Do you love to play while you're drawing and enjoying your art? I hope yes. In this video I will show you some fun techniques about using oil pastels and making fun art, quick art, really small swatches and really cool techniques with the use of oil pastels. So this video comes from my Skillshare class about exploring oil pastels with different fun drawing techniques, unlocking creativity. So I decided to share a piece of this class here on YouTube and I hope you will enjoy. I don't know if you like oil pastels, but I hope that with this video you will explore a lot of fun ways to explore it, and if you don't like it, then after this video I hope that you will test them and give them a second chance. So let's get started. I will start with a simple drawing, just to again warm up. So small illustrations. I will draw fishes, maybe a bird, just by painting small color pieces. So I will use different colors. I will try to blend colors into each other and see what kind of shapes, what comes to my mind. Maybe you already have in mind what you would like to draw, maybe a flower, maybe something else, or maybe it will come to your mind during the process, during the creation. So just give it a try. You can try and test different oil pastels, different colors. I will do it for sure. So I will meet you at the end of the illustration. So here I'm doing the final details. As you can see, I'm overlapping oil pastels. I'm painting pastel details with pastels, but also with the pencils. And here I'm doing another technique. I will use stencils. As you can see, there's already a birdie drawn with exactly the same technique that I used for fishes. So I'm cutting out the bird shape with my stencil, and I will first start with drawing inside the stencil. So let's see what kind of effect we can create. When I'm thinking of this technique, I think it's cool to limit the shape, limit the space. Also, I can create sharp edges. But let's be honest, I'm drawing bird also because that's one of my favorite things to draw. I will use the same technique to draw wings. Once the bird is ready, I decided that I will use the same stencil to do the other stencil technique. I will also use the color, the oil pastel that was left, because the paper was dirty with the previous drawing. So I will just add a little bit of oil pastels on the edges and blur it inside. Again, it's bird because I love birds. But when it comes to thinking what could I draw also with this kind of technique, I think of like flowers that are very delicate. The one that you blow with air, I don't remember the name. Or maybe a butterfly. So I decided to do also a butterfly. What comes to your mind? You can draw the same thing as I do, obviously. Or you can think of the things that your imagination tells you. Okay, so now I wanted to paint with watercolors as well, so I will try the techniques with watercolors over the oil pastels. I love night scenes, so I thought to do a night scene with the moon, and for this I will use darker watercolors. You could obviously also use ink. I will use dark paints, gray and indigo colors, so I will mix two different colors here. And voila, here my night scene. Simple draft is ready. I'm happy with the result, even if it's very, very simple and basic. But it gives you the idea what kind of things you can do with this kind of technique. We tested watercolor, so now let's test acrylic ink, or acrylic if you don't have acrylic ink. First, draw the shape that you want, the object that you want with oil pastels. I will draw a house because I really like the texture that you can create with this technique. If you remember, it gives this vintage vibes, scratchy old things. So what comes to my mind are old houses, maybe a brick, maybe old paint on the wall, no, maybe old object, box, shoe, or, well, I leave it up to you. I will use this bold red orangey color. I love this kind of combination between turquoise and this color. And as you can see, some of the areas, in some of the areas, the color didn't stick to the surface, but it's okay. It even helps to give the idea of old vintage texture. Once your ink is dry, you can scratch it. I will test different tool, toothpick, a needle, and also you can use a cutter. Just be careful, because those are all very sharp tools. See what works best. I find that this cutter is okay, but for example, I prefer to use a toothpick or the needle because they give thinner lines. And we can continue the scratching activity. As you can see, I will paint on a page that already contains some of other birdies made with techniques with the previous techniques that we painted fishes, and the third bird is also painted with a scratching technique. So let's see it. You can begin with a simple shape, something easy and small amount of colors, so you can pick 1 or 2 colors. Just remember to use the lighter tone for the background layer and the darker color for the second layer. And as for the subject, what comes to your mind with scratching technique? Well, this time you can also think that this technique, etching technique, is basically the same technique that you use for print, for aqua tint, when you scratch the plate, the printing plate. So you can paint basically everything that comes to your mind and create details by scratching them out. So I painted the tree and I will scratch branches and leaves and wood texture. Now we can use the same technique, but we can develop it a little bit. So I will create colorful background by painting different colors underneath. As you can see, I did it also for the tree above with the black second layer, but underneath you can see different colors that are spotting out. So also here I will paint randomly, random different colors. If you have some colors in mind, you can paint harmonious colors, but also, you know, you can go wild and use many different tones and hues. For the second layer, you can also use different colors. You can use one colors, but maybe you would like to test and create this patchwork also as the second background. I will use different kind of dark blues and green blues. Here's the result. And what comes to my mind is obviously a night scene with birds, so I will repeat it, but by scratching. So as the bonus, I will leave you with the last technique that I didn't show before. So this is another thing that you can do with oil pastel, and it's a way of printing, but not in the way in the traditional way. It's not a traditional meaning, but in the meaning that you can transfer an image, a drawing, not directly, but by transferring a medium painted before. It is easier done than said, so you will see what I'm talking about. So prepare the background, prepare a layer of a solid color, a solid piece of oil pastel. try to cover well the paper. It doesn't have to be really 100% covered, but yeah, just leave a solid layer of oil color. Then bend your paper, or you can draw on the other piece of paper, and on the back of the page with the color that you applied, draw whatever comes to your mind. You can use pencil, you can use a pen. And what you're doing is that you are transferring the oil color, here it is, to the paper that is underneath. I really love this kind of technique. I usually use different mediums to do it, not necessarily oil colors. This is my latest discovery. Before I used printing inks or oil colors, not pastels, but since those are usually oil-based mediums, so I thought, well, you could basically do the same thing with oil pastel. I will paint flowers, really easy drawing. I love this technique because it creates a different kind of strokes. They are more blurred, as you can see. They have a different effect. So here you can go with your favorite subject to draw, or you can think of when you could apply this kind of texture. Maybe it could be a fur of an animal. Maybe again some soft thing, maybe a feather. I decided to do simple flowers. So that's it. I showed you everything that I wanted, but in the end I'll share with you some other examples of the same techniques but different drafts, different illustrations. Yeah, basically some of them we did together, some of them I created before. You can, for example, here I painted it with masking tape, so I create little squares, little small illustrations. I hope you will fill your sketchbook with many different drafts that you will explore. I hope you enjoyed this video. If yes, then please leave your likes, leave your comments, subscribe to my channel, because I will come back to you with another cool drawing techniques.